Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to the channel. My name is George, and in today's video we'll be talking about a watch that is slowly becoming one of my favorite budget pieces in my collection. Full stop. This is a homage watch, and for me personally, there is always that bit that is not, that part of me that is not fully convinced, but not in this case. I absolutely love this thing. And that little watch is the Seestern 62 Mas Homage. When I unboxed this, I wasn't expecting it to grow on me as much, to be 100% honest. Seestern is not the only brand that does a homage of the 62 Mas, but to my knowledge, they are the only brand that does a 38mm version of it. There are a couple of things combined that makes this little watch so good. Full disclosure, this watch has been sent in to me by Seestern. I don't have to send it back, I get to keep it. So bear that in mind as the video goes along. I'll put links into the description box below, affiliate links to their store on AliExpress and the link to their official website. So go ahead and check them out down below. Now, what makes this little watch so good? Let's jump into it and find out. So what is it about homage watches that attracts us to them? I think it's a relevant question in this case because nowadays you have homage watches going from around $100 all the way up to $500 or $600, like Steinhardt, who do premium quality homages. To be perfectly honest, I don't think I can tell you exactly what that attraction is because each piece has its own character, even if it isn't an original design. But for me, this has that attraction. It has that perfect homage moment. Let's get into it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's start with dimensions. The diameter is 37mm on the case, that's measured with my calipers, and 38mm on the bezel. So right off the bat, this is where it gets its first points for me. It suits smaller wrists, and it's one of the few smaller 38mm divers out there. The thickness is 13.5 with a slightly domed sapphire crystal. The lug to lug is 46mm, so it's super compact. The lug width is 20mm and the weight is a very manageable 95 grams on the rubber strap. The watch wears pretty compact and it has a very balanced look on the wrist, considering the fact that it comes on a rubber strap. The size plays a huge role here because you'd expect it to be a bit top heavy, but it actually sits quite snug and centered on the wrist. The case is made out of the ever-present 3-on-6L stainless steel with a very well finished look. It's entirely brushed with some polished chamfer edges to kind of break that look a bit. At the 3 o'clock we have the signed screw down crown with the Seestern logo on it. Between this and the screw down case back we have a stated water resistance of 200 meters. We also have a coin-edged bezel which is unidirectional and it has 120 clicks. We also have a ceramic bezel insert with a lume integrated pip. The bezel action is superb with smooth reassuring clicks with no backplay whatsoever, and the alignment is bang on point. There's nothing to complain about on this case. It's quite actually quite the opposite because the level of finishing is on par with much more expensive brands that I've handled. And also to factor in the fact that this costs $180, you kind of start realizing that Seestern is set to deliver a lot of bang for buck here. The dial is covered by a domed piece of sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on the underside, and this doesn't get much glare when the light hits it. The version I have here is this kind of sunburst grey. There are 4 color combinations available, but I went for this just because I love that slightly gunmetal look on the dial, and I also wanted something that resembles the original 62 MOS dial color. The hour markers are all applied with a silver frame. We also have fence post hour and minute hands that complement the indices quite nice. At the 3 we have a date window also with a silver frame, and finally we have written at the 12 Seastern and automatic at 200 meters at the 6, both in white. There are a few things to cover here before moving on. Even though I love the simplicity of the dial, I would have loved to see the Seastern logo starfish printed at the 12 instead of the writing. And also, the date is actually loomed, which is something rarely seen at this price range or on any other homages that cost a lot more. Actually, I'm talking to you, Saint Martin. But if you have a closer look, the single digit dates are a bit off center, and that's because the loomed date discs are made in a separate factory and the measurements weren't 100% accurate. On the double digit days, the issue disappears, it's barely visible. I believe that Seastern are aware of this and the issue will be addressed in the next batch. Take it as you will, I really don't see this as a problem, and I actually had to take a very serious look before I actually could see this. Let's talk about the loom, because as you can see from the color of those indices, there is bucket loads, and this thing truly shines. We have C3 Superluminova that glows and it's visible at any given time of the night. Before talking about the movement, I want to mention the engraving on the case back with the Great Wave of Kangawa facing that starfish logo. Very nicely executed and brings a nice touch on the case back, to be honest. The movement powering this is the ever-present Seiko NH35, which is a common and expected sight at this price point. It's hacking and it's hand winding at 21,600 vibrations per hour with a power reserve of around 41 hours. Not sure how long we'll be seeing this movement in watches in this price category, because there's a major shortage at the moment due to the pandemic, I believe. It would be interesting to see what the next long-term replacement would be, but then again, time will tell, and maybe the NH35 will be back. It all depends. Lastly, we get to the strap. We have this FKM rubber, almost tire thread pattern with quick release spring bars, 20mm lugs, and to help swapping straps, we also have drilled lugs. The rubber is super soft and it feels really nice on the skin. Pretty much all 62 MOS homages come on this waffle strap kind of thing, but you can really have this on any straps, as this will look great on actually anything. To sum it up, guys, the 62 MOS has been homaged by a lot of brands, like I was saying in the beginning of the video, but none of them quite actually connected with me like this one. The size, the finishing, both add to the value, and they both are strong features. I feel at the moment the Seastern is the only brand that is taking on the likes of Saint Martin and definitely rivals them in quality. I'm curious to see what they'll come up with next. That was it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my Seastern review. Click a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.